Mediation: How Marlon Brando Settled His Wildest Legal Battle. How does a boy born in the corn-fed quiet of Omaha become the most electrifying actor of the 20th century? What kind of childhood brews a man who mumbles his way into Oscar history, refuses the award, and sends a Native American activist to deliver his protest on live television? Why did Marlon Brando teach his housekeeper a secret code hidden in his signature, like a cinematic spy? And what happened when she claimed he promised her a house, but forgot to write it down? What drove his son to commit manslaughter, his daughter to despair, and his estate into a legal circus that involved handwriting experts, Hollywood producers, and a settlement that could barely buy a decent blender? This is not just the story of a man, it's the story of a storm. A storm that began in a broken household, raged through Broadway, exploded in Hollywood, and left behind a trail of love, lust, lawsuits, and legacy battles. From the military school he escaped to the stage he conquered, from the lovers he married to the children he mourned, from the Oscar he rejected to the promises he forgot to notarize. This is the full, unfiltered forensic saga of Marlon Brando. Omaha, Nebraska, April 3rd, 1924. A place where the horizon stretches like a sigh and the most exciting thing might be a well-attended barn dance. Nebraska is the heartland, rich in agriculture, modest in celebrity. But from this soil sprouted a boy who would redefine acting. Marlon Brando Jr. was born into a family that could have used a therapist and a script doctor. His father, Marlon Sr., was a traveling pesticide salesman, a man whose emotional range was somewhere between mild irritation and silent disappointment. Brando once quipped, "The only thing my father ever gave me was a beating." Not exactly a hallmark moment. His mother, Dodie Brando, was a theater lover and a heavy drinker. She adored the stage and introduced young Marlon to Shakespeare and Chekhov before he could spell existential crisis. Her passion for performance planted the first seeds of artistry in him, even as her alcoholism cast long shadows across their home. Marlon had two sisters, Frances and Jocelyn. Jocelyn would later become an actress herself, appearing in films and on stage. But the Brando household was no nurturing nest. It was a cocktail of neglect, volatility, and occasional bursts of affection. Think Tennessee Williams meets Midwestern dysfunction. Young Marlon grew up watching his parents fight, drink, and drift. He learned early that love could be loud, painful, and inconsistent. This emotional chaos would later fuel his performances with a rawness that audiences couldn't look away from. Brando was sent to Shattuck Military Academy in Minnesota, presumably to straighten him out. Instead, he became a master of insubordination. He was expelled for sneaking off campus, refusing to follow orders, and impersonating authority figures. One story claims he locked a school official in a closet. Classic Brando. In 1943, he fled to New York City, the mecca of theater and rebellion. There, he enrolled at the dramatic workshop and studied under Stella Adler, the high priestess of method acting. Adler taught him to dig into the emotional marrow of a character, using the Stanislavski system, a technique that demanded actors live their roles, not just perform them. Brando absorbed it all like a sponge dipped in whiskey and rage. He didn't just act, he erupted. Brando's Broadway debut came in I Remember Mama, 1944, but it was his role as Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire, 1947, that turned him into a cultural earthquake. Directed by Elia Kazan, the play showcased Brando's volcanic intensity. He mumbled, he brooded, he made sweating look sexy, and when he bellowed Stella from the bottom of his soul, the world gasped. A new kind of actor had arrived, one who didn't care about polish, only truth. Brando's film career exploded with The Men, 1950, a wounded World War II veteran grappling with paralysis. On the Waterfront, 1954. As Terry Malloy, he delivered the iconic line, "I could have been a contender." He won his first Academy Award for this role. The Godfather, 1972. As Vito Corleone, he became the embodiment of quiet menace, with a voice like gravel soaked in olive oil. He won his second Oscar, but refused it. In 1973, Brando declined the Academy Award for The Godfather. Instead, he sent Sacheen Littlefeather, a Native American activist, to the ceremony. She walked on stage and announced that Brando was protesting Hollywood's portrayal of indigenous people. It was bold. It was messy. It was Brando. He later explained, I felt that the motion picture industry had been responsible for degrading the Indian and making a mockery of his character. The audience booed. Some applauded, but history was made. Brando's love life was a revolving door of passion and chaos. He married 3 times. Anna Kashfi, 1957 to 1959, a British actress with whom he had Christian Brando. Movida Castaneda, 1960 to 1962, a Mexican-American actress who had appeared in Mutiny on the Bounty decades earlier. Tarita Terriapaya, 1962 to 1972, a Tahitian actress from Mutiny on the Bounty with whom he had 2 children. Brando fathered at least 11 children, a brood as eclectic and troubled as the man himself. Among them, Christian Brando, born May 11, 1958, to actress Anna Kashfi, was the eldest son and the most publicly tormented. His childhood was a tug-of-war between 2 warring parents, culminating in a 12-year custody battle. At age 14, his mother kidnapped him and hid him in Mexico with a band of hippies. Yes, really. Christian's life spiraled into addiction, isolation, and tragedy. In 1990, he fatally shot Dag Drolet, the boyfriend of his half-sister Cheyenne, inside Brando's Mulholland Drive home. Christian claimed Cheyenne had told him Drolet was abusive. Fueled by alcohol and rage, he confronted Drolet and pulled the trigger. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter, served 5 years, and was released in 1996. Cheyenne Brando, daughter of Brando and Tarita Terriapaya, was a model with a fragile psyche. After Dag Drolet's death, she spiraled into depression and substance abuse. She died by suicide in 1995, leaving behind a young son. Her death shattered Brando, who later said, "I don't think I'll ever recover from it." Enter Angela Borlaza, Brando's longtime housekeeper, assistant, and, depending on whom you ask, his most trusted confidante, or just another casualty of his chaotic empire. Angela had been with Brando for years, managing his affairs, cooking his meals, and navigating the emotional minefield of his household. In 2002, Brando purchased a modest home in San Fernando Valley. According to Angela, he told her, "Angela, this house is yours." No paperwork, no contract, just the sacred language of verbal trust, spoken over dinner and perhaps a glass of wine. But when Brando died on July 1, 2004, of respiratory failure, things got murky. Just 13 days before his death, his will was amended. The new executors, Mike Medavoy, Hollywood producer, Larry J. Dressler, and Avra Douglas, replaced Brando's longtime advisors. Angela was evicted from the house and filed a lawsuit claiming Brando was incapacitated when the will was changed. The signature was forged. She was owed $627,000 for the house and $2 million in punitive damages. Now here's where it gets deliciously bizarre. Angela claimed Brando had taught her a secret code embedded in his signature. A flourish, a loop, a hidden mark that only she could recognize. Like something out of National Treasure, she argued that the signature on the amended will lacked this cipher and was therefore a forgery. The case became a circus of handwriting experts, estate lawyers, and Hollywood hush-hush. Analysts pored over loops and strokes like they were decoding ancient scrolls. The estate remained silent, refusing to comment publicly. Angela's attorney, Joel Pipes, played it cool, issuing vague statements like, "We're confident in our position." Translation: "We've got dirt, but we're not airing it yet." On December 22, 2006, the matter was resolved through mediation. Angela received $125,000, a fraction of her claim, but enough to buy a new blender, a few therapy sessions, and perhaps a vacation far from Hollywood. No one admitted wrongdoing. No one confirmed the cipher. But the house was gone, the promise broken, and Angela walked away with a check and a story that would make any memoir sparkle. Brando's estate didn't rest in peace. Disputes over image rights, merchandise, and royalties erupted like popcorn in a fire. One associate claimed Brando had promised him branding rights, to slap his name on cologne, clothing, maybe even pasta sauce. Another said he was owed a stake in future earnings. None of it was documented. All of it was contested. Brando once said, "Privacy is not something that I'm merely entitled to. It's an absolute prerequisite." Ironically, his death opened the floodgates to the very scrutiny he had spent a lifetime avoiding. He died on July 1, 2004, of respiratory failure. But his legacy lives on, in every actor who dares to be raw, real, and rebellious. Brando was more than an actor. He was a force of nature. He supported the civil rights movement, marched with Martin Luther King Jr., and championed Native American causes. He was also known for his eccentricities, refusing to memorize lines, gaining massive weight, and demanding cue cards on set. Viewer reminder, with flair and intrigue. If you're loving this wild ride through the life and legacy of Marlon Brando, from Oscar snubs to secret signature codes, don't miss a single twist. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and follow us so you're the first to know when we drop more jaw-dropping stories, legendary scandals, and untold truths from the vaults of history and Hollywood. Because trust us, what's coming next is even crazier. Next up, Robert De Niro.